So Blizzard is gonna kill Overwatch 1. I mean, literally Overwatch 2 is replacing the entire game of Overwatch 1, so I thought it'd be fun to look back at the earliest footage for Overwatch. I mean, look at the glitch on screen, as well as the future, some misdirections, what has failed, and what's to come. Now, the title says 2007, that's on purpose. That's because Overwatch was originally going to be a game called Titan. Most of you know this by now, but Titan completely got scrapped, and then a lot of the assets and ideas moved to Overwatch. But Titan started development in 2007. Insanely early. So just to go to show how long Blizzard really takes to work on things. Eventually, we got some early footage. All these date back to as early as 2012/2013. And I mean, even in the earliest footage, Tracer always looked a little... Anyway, by 2014, we had some solid footage. Now, Tracer was shooting laser beams, and that was actually the intention before they were bullets, and it was just a ton of Tracers dashing around fighting each other. Tracer got a lot of development even on herself, and that's why till today she's still the face of Overwatch. You can see stuff like Ricochet Shot, which, you know, may it rest in peace, being developed early on. And it's so cool that they make, let's say, this hallway just to see how it would interact and work with the geometry. The earliest version of the dragon was just a bunch of balls shooting at the enemies. It's a little bit weird to say, but I digress. There was a lot of cool things. I mean, look at the old UI, look at the old alt charge, which is kind of funny because it's more like what Overwatch 2 now looks, in my opinion, especially the alt charge, a little bit more simplistic, but a lot of things were always in place, right? They wanted Reinhardt with the shield, they wanted Reaper with the shotgun, they wanted Mercy to be able to res just like that, easy peasy. Of course, not much animation going on, but the concepts were always there, man. This Reinhardt charge always gets me. It's absolutely hilarious. And it's kind of crazy to see. I mean, look at how this gun looked. What are we even looking at? Like, Farah kind of shot like almost like a flamethrower. Oh no, that was Winston. Winston shot flamethrowers basically until adapted to the lightning. But something that really got me in the post-BlizzCon hero progress was Genji. So Genji could hold on a top of a wall, not just fly it or not just climb a wall. He could hold his position, and he swung his sword extremely fast. It looks completely different to the Genji that we know today. Now, I know Hanzo here looks like he's supposed to be holding shotguns, but these are some of the early models, and you can tell they're extremely early, but it's kind of crazy to see a lot of these base ideas come to life, right? They were huge work in progresses, but they had the basic ideas, the basic characters that they wanted. Here we have Zen, which is holding a tracer gun. A lot of glitches going on, but we have early Hanamura as well to show how map progression happens bit by bit. They had to label them, so over there's going to be the temple, and this is good because it's great for testing and getting a feel for how the map would look. Now, obviously the actual base of Hanamura, it looks nothing like that today, absolutely nothing like that, and it goes to show how many things get changed as map gets progressed. Also, you can kind of tell Winston has 1550 HP, just want to put that out there. I hope you noticed that. Development is wild, to say the least. And of course, eventually Overwatch 1 was created. We had old Symmetra, we had so many things changed from back then till now, but of course things slowly slowed down. I mean, Bastion used to have a shield. A lot of you actually already know this. Hanzo's old scatter arrow. I mean, there's a lot. Even the point was super red, very obvious. So things changed a lot. I mean, Mercy still had her old res. We also had something that I remember clearly was Widowmaker. Widowmaker's shot was so fast. Her recharge was way more fun to use back then. I kind of slowly got off Widowmaker as her charge got slowed. I like fast-paced stuff, but regardless, eventually time went on. We had goats, we had a bunch of things, but I want to tell you a lot of the development afterwards. A lot of you guys have lived this. We've played Overwatch for 6 years. But what ended up happening is now it's been a long time since Overwatch 2 was announced, and I want to take a look at the development of Overwatch 2, the ideas they had then, what's happening now, and what's really going to happen in the future. Because while the main content will bore you, I think it's kind of crazy to remember how long ago Overwatch 2 was announced, and the things they promised back then and what's happening now are completely different stories. It's beyond me. Now, we still have the same new maps that they announced. These were announced a while ago. It took too long to get to, but PvE, the story mode, the big selling point of Overwatch 2 has been completely pitch dark. The whole idea was we're supposed to be fighting Omnics or the enemies and have a lot of different things, including upgrades. We had cutscenes, the cutscene with Zenyatta. We had so many things coming and nothing. I mean, look at, we had a huge, I mean, yeah, abilities, right? Like we had abilities, different points to capture, different objectives to be had. And I really want to know till today what has happened and what's happening. They didn't scrap the story completely. That much we know. There were supposed to be weather effects, which is super weird to see on maps that we already know existed. This is not happening in the base game of Overwatch. This was only for the story of Overwatch. But it looks like they're reusing areas, which I guess that partially makes sense. And here's my prediction. Overwatch 2 is coming free to play with battle passes, skins, and that monetization. This will allow Blizzard to collect as many players as possible. It's going to be on them to make the game as good as possible, keep content rolling. No one can predict the future in that sense. But they're going to collect as many players as possible, and then they're going to sell them Overwatch 2 to play with your friends as a PvE co-op experience. That is my prediction. It'll come later after they've collected players, because so many players have left and stopped caring about Overwatch that they needed to reset. And what better way than making it free? It is a little bit unfortunate as there was a lot of unique enemies, a lot of things promised, and I was overall extremely hyped for this, but it's taken a back seat, and I assume that's for the better, but it's only for the better if Blizzard really steps up. We gotta see consistent content. Now, the reason this video is titled Into the Future is because we do have a sense of roadmap, but the roadmap ends a little too early. So while no one can again predict the future, my hope is on a 2 to 3 month basis, we keep getting new content, be it a new hero, a new map, or if that will populate the game too fast, hopefully it's a new game mode, some sort of event, a bunch of new skins on the weekly. Hopefully content keeps cycling in, and eventually we get very, very cool story with stuff like the Polar that's supposed to be dramatic, thematic, and boost Overwatch back into popularity. Now, only time will tell, but Overwatch 2 launch trailer happened literally today. It's looking good, people seem to be excited, and all we can do is cross our fingers and hope that they deliver.